this weekly form preview, we're going to start off with Montauk. Now, Montauk got its name because I Googled crazy bear, crazy leg bear, and it comes up, I believe it's a city in New York, and they have a semi-pro baseball team called the Montauks, and I believe it's also city, this is the name of the city, and their mascot's the Crazy Bears. So what we do is a bear crawl with crazy leg feet. So simply it looks like this. You're crossing over, behind, reset. Then cross over, behind, reset with each step that you take. If I'm crawling this way, it looks like this. Okay? Where people will err on this is they will lift up both hands when they get going. Because you'll see, it's a pretty fast crawl once you get the hang of it. So some people will lift both hands up when they do that crossover behind. So the rule of thumb is you always maintain one point of contact with your hand on the turf. And let me show you what I mean by lifting up. So they'll be going, and it looks like this. And some people will even go even higher than that to where it looks like they cross over. And I'm exaggerating the incorrect way, but it kind of looks like that. Okay? So if you're going fast, that's cool, but make sure you always have a point of contact on the turf. Now, to assist your crawl, what I recommend is getting that back foot really far out on the crossover and almost turning your hips a little bit. So I'm getting really far over, like that, going the other way. Okay? Try to have constant movement with the lower body, constant movement with the upper body, and just keep continuing a nice even flow. And don't come up, don't rise. If you're rising and you notice that both hands are in the air for even just a fraction of the time, that's technically incorrect. So that's Montauk. Pay attention to that because that's going to tell you whether or not you do the upcoming ball and chain correctly. All right, the next one is called Groostlang. I would say Groostlang is the hardest exercise that we have. It definitely takes the longest of any of the tasks. Called it Groostlang because it's another one that I Googled. Didn't really know how to identify it, and so came up with this thing that's like, I believe it's like a big snake monster type thing. So you have to look it up yourself. Some people thought it was a nod to the Galaxy, the Adventures of the Galaxy, or some Galaxy show. Again, I don't know anything about sci-fi videos. So what you're going to do is assume the inchworm position, crawl out, head to your elbows. You're going to lower yourself down towards the turf by doing what we call a mantis. Come back to the start position, bring your knees to your chest. Come back up, crawl out, down to the elbows, knees, or do your mantis, then knees to the chest. Okay? Just like this. Since it is an inchworm, that means we're not going to go to our knees when we're resting. So if you want to rest, you rest in like the kneeling or the squatted position like this, or stand up. Some people like to wear long sleeve shirts just for this so it doesn't scuff up their elbows. Some people some people doesn't happen to, but you're more than welcome to do that. Really get your core a lot in a few different ways. Bringing your knees to your chest while in that plank position is very, very tough to do. Okay? It's also getting your core, just stabilizing yourself in the plank position. And then like I said, you're doing your hip flexors. You're doing a little bit of everything. You're also going to hit the quads a little bit as well. That is there and back. It does take a while to get the hang of it. I would watch that your knees are not going too far outside your elbows. Try to bring them straight there. And then you can come out a little bit just to kind of get up. And then watch that you're not going too fast on your mantis part. So it should still be a nice strong mantis, not just and back up. Never give in to the weight. Always control your body and control the weight if you're using the plate. And don't just let natural gravity or tendencies take over. Control every movement that you do. So that's Groostlang. Give it a go. Go slow. Just kind of stick with the moment of the task that you're on. Especially Groostlang. There's no sense trying to rush it because you really can't. So that's Groostlang. Lowly is named after the Jungle Book. Was it Jungle Book? No, it was Richard Scarry's Busy Town. That's what it is. It's that guy that's like it looks like an inchworm and he's really tall. He's only got one leg. It is just kind of another adaptation to your inchworms and your single leg inches, but it's really obliterator. We're teaching you how to do the task obliterator, which is an oblique crunch. So you're twisting your hips while you're doing an obliterator or an inchworm. So what it looks like if you're doing the inchworm, let's say I have the plate on my feet, you pull your knees outside of your elbow, so it looks like this. It's not splitting it like that, and it's not only coming this way, coming all the way over. So in attempts to teach people how to do obliterator the right way, we came up with a stationary task called lowly. You're going to start with your hands on the line in a plank position. You bring both knees outside and you try to bring your feet up as far as you can. Okay, and back to the plank position. You'll do another one. Stationary, 10 on one side, so it looks like this. Notice I'm sticking my landing. What I'm trying to do is show off to the trainer, the pro, and the people next to me that this is the stop position at the top. My knees are outside where they're supposed to be, and then back into a plank position. When people get rushing through it, it looks like this. Or it gets sloppy and they're not going all the way up, they're not going all the way into a full plank. It should be 10 nice and solid, pristine movements and sticking them. This is also different than the task we call hooked. Hooked is like a wide mogul all the way over and back. So that would be hooked. This is more compact, straight to the position that we want to be in on an obliterator. So that's lowly. It's a good task. It's got to be done right or else it's just going to feel like an average, like mogul or something like that. So really get a little bit of a hip twist into it. Opposite knee outside the opposite elbow, and that's lowly. Okay, ball and chain is one of my favorites because it shows the people who take pride in maybe trying to do each of the smaller tasks better, and then it all combines in one beautiful task that is the ball and chain. It's like a bear crawl where you have your foot in the plate on one foot, and you're going to be dragging it across the floor. You're going to be using a lot of actually hamstrings, hip flexors, shoulders because you're crawling. And the reason why I named it that, even though I joke that it's named after my wife, it's not named after my wife. It is named after what it looks like. You're dragging a ball and chain. You're dragging a ball, like a weighted ball behind you. So at its basic level, what it looks like is this. You're just crawling, meanwhile dragging a plate with you. So if you're just starting, that would be fine. That would be a good way to do it. But really what I would want to stress is to maximize your distance by replacing your knees positions. So if you're going to start, your starting position's here. So your foot's in the plate, this hip is back, leg is locked. So I'm back as far as I possibly can. I like to start with my hands and elbows inside this foot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the plate up, but I'm not just bringing it up with this hip. I'm actually driving hard with this quad. This leg's doing all the pulling. It's going to pull. Meanwhile, I'm going to crawl and get to the point to where this leg, my off leg, is now straight, and this knee is at my chest. So let me show you. I'm pulling with the top leg, straightening my back leg, but I'm still pulling, and then I bring this knee all the way up. Then I'm able to switch. So let me show you like two of them from further away so you're able to see. So it's back here, pull up, Okay. Couple big no-nos on this. I like to say that you can only bring the plate as far as your hand is, and your hand has to stay on the ground. Okay, so what I mean by that is you can only go up to where your hand is right here. You can't lift up. If you lift up, that gives room for people to do this, and all sorts of things can come of that. So, for instance, if I'm going and I'm doing my ball and chain, and I know I can stop here, or I have to stop here, then I'm not able to go, okay, see I'm stopping right here. I was going to see where I roughed up the turf. If I'm not allowing that, or if I'm not like enforcing that rule, I can go like this. Start again. Okay, it just gets sloppy, gets somewhat dangerous because you're trying to overextend, especially in your groin and your hamstrings, quads. But we're just trying to set a limit on what it is that you're doing. The other thing is like I mentioned in the Montauk video, picking up the hands. You'll see some people will go, they'll be crawling, and they'll go, and they're picking up. So what they're doing is they're keeping their legs dead. They're not getting the full bend at the top, and therefore they're not using their hip flexor. If you're crawling on a ball and chain, but you're coming up, that's almost like an arachnid, and you're not using your hips. We want to be able to use your hips, trying to use every part of your body to assist yourself in executing that task. So that's ball and chain. Just make sure you're trying to go knee to chest, and use both legs to help you power through it. Ball and chain is a rather easy exercise if you use everything symbiotically as one. So that's ball and chain. Now tiptoes is a stationary exercise that we do with a lot of hockey players, like on the ladder. You know, we got typewriter. In Cyprus we have tippy tap. We have twinkle toes, coalition, that kind of stuff. Very similar exercise, but it should also teach you how to do a proper scuffle. So if you're having a difficult time doing scuffle the right way, bring it back to tiptoes, see if you're able to do that the right way. And if you're not, fix it there, and then you can probably do scuffle the right way. You're loading on one side. If you're on the end zone, that's your line number one. Jump to the other side. Whoop, bad balance. But you're landing on that off leg, and then you're going to tap. And then from the tap, you're going to jump back, tap. So it's as simple as this. But what you don't want to do is turn it into almost like jump, 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 jump. You don't want to have like such a little degree or duration that like you can't even tell that like one foot's moving independently. It's really, you're moving side to side. Honestly, it's really for skating. But I want to be able to see weight transition to one side. Now that all the weight's there, let's jump back to the other one. But the reason why we tap is just to show that all the weight's on the other side. You're not using the tapping foot to help you push over. It's just there to show that all the weight's on the one leg. That's tiptoes. Helps with tippy tap, helps with scuffle. Not too difficult, but everyone's got to know how to do it. We have swashbuckler. Swashbuckler is a plate push where one foot's going to be in front, one foot's going to be in back. And you're going to gallop like this, and then you're going to switch your lead foot, you're galloping. It all starts with the squonk base. If you were to ask me what I think the most important task is, I would probably say squonk or your Greco. If we do so many tasks where your feet are in a squonk base, that's 90 degrees, so one foot like on the line, one foot over in here. If you know this, you know squonk, you know kobold, you know mongoose, which is a crawl, Greco, Petra, all of that. Swashbuckler is just a push like that. I called it swashbuckler because it's got the on guard feet too. On guard's a little bit closer together. But I feel like I'm sword fighting, so swashbuckler, I feel like a pirate. Pirate's another one. Pirate, we do the Diablo, it's the reverse way of doing it. So, going fast, forward, forward. Some people kind of get their feet like tied up like this, turns it to a twisted. The idea is to really push off that front foot, get as much ground as you can. The back foot pushes off a little bit, but it's there more for like stability and just making sure you're in the right frame. So it's here, coming back. All right. Whew. So that's swashbuckler. I get asked that all the time. What is it? I have a tough time giving you some kind of a association to like make you help think of it the correct way, but I don't know if anybody's got an idea, leave it on the thread here. But I just think of it as doing like pirate, on guard, that footwork, but you're doing a push. Really get that front foot out in front. All right, last task for this week. It's called a 3-point stance. It's named after what football players do to get in their starting stance before play begins. Now, I never played a day of football in my life, so I don't know if it's correct, but I do know that they get something like this. They get down. It's kind of like a racer getting ready to go off a starter's block. But that's where the name came up with, and I call it hikes. You know hikes, your hands are on the top part of the plate. Well, I also wanted to stay with something like that for this task. So staying in the same field and the same sport, 3-point stance, you're grabbing it by the low part. I still have a nice squat. This hand, if you want to support here, that's fine. You're just throwing it through your legs. You'll stay with the same hand one way, so switch hands on the way back. What I see done incorrectly, I don't want to say incorrectly, but it's not very effective, is people will pinch the plate and lift it up. Now, that works, it still gets you a certain distance, but if you lift it up, what's going to happen is it's going to come back down and pretty much just stop. It's not going to get any extra glide. So especially I've seen ones where when they're lifted, it's almost completely vertical like this. You don't want that. So I'll show you a couple the right way. Get far away from it and throw it through and like kind of drag, follow through on it, okay? Follow through on it. What I do is I do lift it a very little bit, and I only have it up about an inch, so I pinch it a little bit, but I still have the majority of the plate on the turf. That's how I do it. I think some people have heard or seen how I lift it up, or others lift it up, but then they pull up too much rather than back. So the wrong way would be like this, and then just stops, especially when it's sticky. The wrong way would be like that. It's not going anywhere, okay? That's like pulling up and towards your midsection instead of going back, okay? That's 3-point stance. It's an easy one, you get a rest. And really, if you're doing it right, probably 3 to 6 times is good. If you're doing it more than that and it's not a sticky day, strive to do something differently, and I'm sure one of your pros will help you. That one, you do not push off on the turf. Definitely do not hop with just your hand, one hand supporting you. But that's 3-point stance, and we'll see you guys next week.